All right, everyone, I am back. This is another one that's been on my table for a while. Oh, one mistake. There we go. That's a bit better. As I was saying, I've had this laptop for a number of years. It's a Razer Blade Stealth, 13 inches. It has a high DPI display, I think 4K. It has a touch screen. And when I bought this, I bought it used off of eBay. It came with an external GPU. So my hope was that this would be an adequate sort of productivity and gaming machine. It has a very nice, slim profile. There's that touch screen. So I really actually do like the form factor. I like 13-inch laptops. And it'd be great for its portability and lightness, so I can imagine using this for travel. The main thing that has kind of stopped me from using this very much is that ultimately I found that it was a little bit sluggish on Windows. I've come to not appreciate how bloated Windows is. So my goal is to install Arch Linux on this. Since I wasn't really using this computer anyway, I figured it was okay to finally take a chance on Arch Linux. I have run Linux for a number of years across a number of computers, but I've always stuck to Debian-based distros, which has been great. It's been great for learning. I've been impressed with the usability and the stability, but ultimately, because one of my biggest issues with this machine has been the general performance, I want something very lightweight and snappy. And so I'm going for a lightweight distribution of Linux. I think I'll learn a lot about Linux and computers in general by using Arch. I'm going to go for a lightweight desktop. Right now I'm thinking KDE Plasma. So in the past I've usually used something based off of GNOME. But I've gotten a bit more familiar with Plasma now that I have a Steam Deck. That's the desktop environment it uses in its desktop mode. So anyway, there will be a number of steps. I will probably screw up, and I may not even get it all done because I have less than 2 hours and I haven't installed Arch before. And we're really starting from the beginning, but I'm going to just go ahead and give it a shot because really I need to get this done. You'll see this is my overhead camera display. So I believe if I do a couple little switchies here, there's that one, and there's that one. Okay, great. Now you can see me. You can see the computer I'm working with. It doesn't necessarily look great, but I figure it's better than just my face the whole time. This little thumb drive here currently actually has the ISO of Mint that I used to install on my main machine, the one that I am currently actually streaming from. But one thing we'll have to do is get this to have the bootable Arch ISO on it. Another thing I'll say before I go too much deeper into all of this is before you do any of this stuff, make a plan. Make sure that any data is backed up that you may be in a position to lose. Make sure you have enough disk space for both your new operating system and also for anything that you're intending to keep. So in this case, I'll also add that for the time being, I've decided, and I wrestled with this a lot, but I've decided that I am going to actually keep a Windows partition. I'm hoping, I have a Windows partition on my other computer, the one that's running Mint, and I'm going to keep a Windows partition on this computer so that I still have the option to boot into Windows. And for me, there are times where that just kind of comes in clutch due to some unforeseen compatibility thing. Sometimes it comes down to hardware support. So audio devices and things like that haven't always just worked flawlessly for me on Linux. So for now, I'm going to keep a relatively small Windows partition on this. There should be a lot of room on the Arch partition since it's such a small installation. But hopefully that will give me enough ability to sort of experiment and get used to it. And if it all goes well, hopefully in time, I will be completely free of Windows partitions. But for now, I'm going to keep it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start Firefox. And one thing that we are going to do is go to Arch Linux. And let's take a look at their installation guide. I just saw it a second ago. Installation guide. So there's a number of things we're going to have to do. One, I'm going to actually have to make a partition to install Linux on. And I'm also going to have to make a bootable ISO of Arch and get it onto this thumb drive. So that's a couple of steps that will not necessarily just happen right away. There may be some wait time here. But I'm going to start by downloading that ISO. And I honestly probably should read this installation guide somewhat carefully since I haven't done this before. But hopefully it goes similarly to how it has gone for other distros. But it's saying, first step, acquire installation image. So that's more or less what we expected. And one thing that we'll see here is that they are recommending BitTorrent download and provide these torrent links, which is something I haven't done for a very long time. And so I will need to sort of figure out how I'm going to get this ISO downloaded. I'm just kind of curious here what these other options are. So if I go here to United States, it looks like I could probably just download it directly. But in the spirit of getting into the Arch mindset, I am curious about doing this using BitTorrent. So let's go ahead. I seem to recall uTorrent being the easiest way to do this. So, uTorrent has ads. uTorrent costs money. Okay, so that's our first little surprise here. Best free torrenting software. I'll ask Duck AI on this. Ugh. I have to agree to terms of service here. Okay, BitTorrent, lightweight and open source, no ads. That sounds pretty good to me. Or just BitTorrent. Just check. Is BitTorrent open source? The original BitTorrent client was open source until version 6. Then it became proprietary adware. Okay, well then let's go with BitTorrent. That sounds like the open source fork. Okay. So download. 64-bit. 64-bit Windows. Okay, so that should be opening now, I think. Yes. Okay, language selected English, setup wizard, terms of service, components that I would like to install, start menu shortcut. I don't want to do that. Okay, this all looks good. Default install location. Okay, so we have qbit torrent installing. Looks like it's done. When you run a torrent, its data will be made available to others by means of upload. Okay, so going back to this. Now, I'm not really sure what the difference between the magnet link is and the torrent. For some reason, the magnet link has more appeal to me. Oh, this isn't even big. 1.16 gigabytes. Well, it was a bit of I don't know. That's a lot for a 1.16 gigabyte download, but let's go ahead and just let it run its course here. I don't know how well you can see any of this. It's a bit fuzzy by the looks of it, but we're at about 4.3%. So while that's downloading, let's go ahead and look at our partitions. So before this stream, I spent some time cleaning up the drive on this. There was a lot of junk and stuff that I just didn't want on this computer anymore. So you'll see that this drive, the SSD that's built into this is 464 gigabytes, and there are 364 gigabytes free. So I've got just about 100 gigabytes used. I'm guessing that 464, it's kind of a strange number. Yeah, I was wondering, I have this 11.72 gigabyte partition here. I don't actually know what that is. There's a recovery partition that is just about 1,000 meg. There's another system partition, 100 meg. So I'm not 100% sure what all of this is. I'd sort of like to get this 11.72 gigabytes back. That would bring me up to about 475 gigs total. But since I don't know what it is right now, I'm not going to touch it. Really, most of this is going to come from this main operating system drive. So we will go ahead and shrink it. And let's see what it allows us. Sometimes, if the memory is not continuous and there are system files that can't be moved from inside of Windows, you don't get nearly as much space available for a new partition as you technically have available on the drive. So while that's doing that, we are at 26% done downloading the ISO. Oh, my leg's falling asleep. Okay, so size of available shrink space, 54.972 megabytes. That is not very much. I don't think that's very much. I'm going to check. Yeah, that's only 55 gig. That is a little bit unfortunate to hear. Now, can I go higher? Maybe I can go higher. Let me just see. So, based on the space that I saw here, 364 free gigs. I was thinking I was going to go like maybe, so 100's in use by Windows. So I was thinking I'd go like 264, leaving 100 left for Windows. So let's see what 264 gigabytes is. 264 in megabytes. Okay, so they're just multiplying by 1,000, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, you cannot shrink it beyond where unmovable files are located. So this is genuinely a challenge now. I have to find some way to free up more space by moving system files. So I was worried about this, and I think that there are some solutions here. One of which might be to reset Windows. So if you go in here, if I do reset this PC, it hopefully would consolidate all of the system files and free up a significant amount of space, by the way. And then allow me to make a much bigger partition. At the point where I'm reinstalling Windows, it almost makes me want to just completely flatten the drive and just go with pure Linux, because it's so much simpler to just have the one operating system and the one partition. I believe that I've backed up pretty much everything on this computer. I'm not too worried about data loss, but just that little niggling fear was one reason I haven't done it yet, out of worry that I might accidentally lose some file. Let's see how this little torrent is doing. So here's kind of what I'm thinking right now. At the very least, I can finish downloading this ISO, and then I can make the drive. We can maybe try booting into Arch just off of the thumb drive, which would be kind of an interesting little way to dip our toes in. And then when I have the time, which may not be right now, I've got about an hour and a half left, consider resetting the PC and trying to make our partition. So for now, let's go ahead and let this ISO download a bit more. I actually may step outside and take a quick little break while that happens. It is 60% done, so I'm guessing another 5-10 minutes or so, but give me a minute. Okay, I am back, and as you can see, we are at 97%. So this will be downloaded any second now. Yeah, still thinking about exactly what I'm going to do with regards to this Windows installation. Three options are stick with the 55 gigabyte partition, which should be enough for Arch, and make the majority of the machine still Windows. We can reset the PC and hopefully consolidate the system files and then have a smaller Windows partition and a much bigger Linux one. Or we may be able to just decide now is the time to flatten the whole machine and go all in on Arch Linux. And I think that one reason we might do that is if we try it out first and realize that we are not at all worried about making that switch. So one thing about this torrenting software is as somebody who's not particularly versed on torrenting, I'm like, it says up speed right now. Like, I don't know if I'm currently helping to host this file or not, but it worked pretty well. Maybe if I close uTorrent, I won't be anymore, or qTorrent, whatever it is. Some files are currently transferring. Are you sure you want to quit? Yes, I've quit. Okay, so now we have the ISO, I believe 5 files, File Explorer, downloads. Okay, we have Arch right here. So, what do we do with this? Well, yes, Belena Etcher. So this is an ISO, but it's here in Windows, right? We need to be able to boot off of this ISO to actually use or install Linux. And that requires us to have some sort of bootable media that is not the Windows partition. And we are going to use this thumb drive, which currently has Linux Mint on it. But for now, oops, yep. And here it is telling me I need to format it and all that, because it has a different operating system on it. But I'm going to go Flash from File and select this ISO. Select the target. Okay. Location, drive D and E. Okay, first of all, there's two. Oh, USB drive E. Okay, that says it needs to format before I can use it. Oh. So this one I'm actually slightly worried. However, D is really the one that is the installation media. So am I able to select that individually? I'm not. Show one hidden. Yeah, don't use the system drive. Okay. What's on E? Because this is a tiny drive. It can't seem to read anything. I'm going to do something a little bit weird. I'm going to boot into Mint off of this thumb drive and then see if I can read it there. Because it's possible that the E drive is not formatted for Windows, but would be formatted for Mint. And if that's the case, I should be able to see it. If not, it's probably doesn't have anything on it. I just don't want to lose anything on this thumb drive. Okay, so this should be Mint. Start Linux Mint. I hate these sorts of things. Does this mean it's broken? I just did this not long ago. Nope, there it is. Yeah, messages like that in the BIOS can just seem very like something's broken. And I realize that because of this glare, you can't really see the screen very well. It's just what it is. Mint, mint, mint. Mint, mint, mint. Any second now. Got a cursor. Moves around. Okay, and I already did this off stream, but basically the UI is tiny. You probably don't really care because you can't really see it anyway. But I'm going to just switch this from 4K to 1920 by 1080. There we go. Keep this configuration. Drive manager. Looking for drivers. File manager. Disks. Okay, here we go. Wait. It sees my large partition, and then it sees this one. Writable partition 3, 121 gigabytes. ext4. Oh, right, I don't have internet on this one. It's not connected to my network. What is ext4 format? Thinks I'm a robot. Probably because I'm using Linux. A popular journaling file system used in Linux for managing data on disk. So if there's anything on there, you'd think I'd be able to see it in here. But I don't really. It says there's 2 gigs of stuff on it, theoretically. I wonder, I'm booted into here. Ubiquity desktop. I wonder if this is just like the writable file system for Mint if booted off of this drive. says mountable. I don't really think anything's on it. It's a little tough to be 100% sure. Removable drives and media. Well, I think I conclude nothing's on it. Please remove installation media and press enter. USB drive E. You need to format it before you can use it. I need to check something really fast. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've decided that I'm ready to use this drive. Sorry for the delay on that. So, using this etcher program, did it not like that? Come on. We just did this a minute ago. Oh, this is what always happens when I try to do things. Seems fine to me. Okay. No idea what that was, but we are now creating our bootable installation media. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. Seems pretty fast. It says about a minute. Okay, validating. Finishing, flash complete. Okay, so theoretically now, and I'll just quickly, let's see what it looks like in Explorer real fast. So we now see DVD drive F arch. I wonder if is it already mounted? Okay, well let's go ahead and restart and see what happens when we restart into this. Having never used Arch before, I don't know what its like live USB booting options are. I've never seen the installer before. I hear things about how hard it is. But I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to just boot into the OS from the USB drive. And invalid. Oh, was this one of the steps I skipped? Well, I guess I need to read those installation instructions more closely. I probably need to add some sort of digital signature to it, which I've never had to do before, put it that way. Arch installation guide. So what's this thing say? Verify signature. It's recommended to verify the image signature before use. Arch, bootable USB, invalid signature. Let's see what it says. Okay, so this is actually maybe more secure boot related. Let me go Arch secure boot. I have done this before. Arch bypass secure boot. Arch Linux installation images do not support secure boot. You will need to disable secure boot to boot the installation medium. And now I can't even tell if that's Arch secure boot or like Microsoft secure boot. I'm going to look at this message more carefully this time. So slow. Okay. Invalid signature detected. Check secure boot policy and setup. Okay. Let's check setup. Boot. Security. Secure boot menu. I can disable it. Okay, I disabled secure boot. And now I can say boot off of this. Yeah. And save changes and reset, I guess. How you like me now? Okay, so Arch Linux install medium with speech. I'll just take the regular install medium. It's a little slow. Welcome to Arch Linux. So it's initializing some stuff. If I know anything about Arch, it'll maybe just dump me straight into a command line. Riveting. Okay. Okay, some more stuff happening. Hey. Cool. To install Arch Linux, follow the installation guide. So I wonder, like, am I running it right now, but it's just not installed? But yeah, we have what looks like pretty standard Linux file system here. And there's not really anything on it. Sudo. One root. Okay. And no apt. Pac-Man. Well, there you have it. I think we've booted into Arch. We haven't quite installed it yet. That may take some additional effort. But we've made some pretty good progress. Current time, 3:30. I could keep going. Here's a question for you. How would I restart? Look it up on a different computer, I guess. How do I restart from the command line in Arch? Reboot. So if I go sudo reboot, is it rebooting now? And this time we can boot back into Windows and go back to our whole partition problem. And we are getting a little low on battery for some of the stuff we're doing. I might have to plug in. But here we are back in Windows World. We have the bootable media. All we need now is the partition. Let me look something up. Because what I want to know is like, is 54 gigabytes even close to reasonable for Arch? How much space do I need for Arch and Plasma? See what Duck AI has to say about it. 1 gigabyte. Around 20 for a GUI to work smoothly. At least 30 for Plasma. I mean, that's not much, you know, but for what I'm doing and for getting started, maybe that's fine. I think for the sake of moving this project forward, I should do that. Okay, first things first. Oh, and it's difficult because this thing uses, I guess I have, okay, I have to figure a couple things out here. I'm going to move this over to the other USB thing, and then I'm going to plug this into power. I hope. I have to figure that out. Oh, bumping my setup and everything. Okay, this is plugged into an alarm clock. I don't need that right now. Come on. Dang, I didn't realize that was so snug. Okay. I'll unplug this. A little easier. Okay, we're plugged into power. We're plugged into power. Let us go back to our disk. Create and format partitions. You know what? Not the removable. See, this says unallocated. So I probably never put anything on that. Now when it comes to this, let's go ahead and shrink. Let's see what it thinks about the available space. Okay, I'm taking the 55 gigabytes, 54 gigabytes. And we probably need to format this. Give me all the space. Drive letter D is fine, I think. And then the question is, what format? NTFS or exFAT? Let me consult here. Arch Linux partition format. You'll need to format your partitions with appropriate file systems after creating them. Common choices. Yeah, see, I might have to think about this. It might not just be one partition. And here in Windows, all I get is NTFS and exFAT. I might want... See, this was really nice when I installed Pop! OS. It gave me a nice little, like, disk formatter, which allowed me to kind of do this a little better. Let me go Arch Linux partition guide. At minimum, you need a root partition. A separate home partition is recommended. And you might also want a swap partition or swap file. Well, friends, I hate to say this, but I think I want to come back to this. I think I want to come back to this after having spent a little bit more time thinking about how I'm going to deal with all these partitions, and then go from there. Delete volume. I'm still so confused about what this one is. Yeah, that's it for now. I've decided. But I hope that I have Arch running on this soon. And this would actually represent an increasingly large percentage of what my work is, because I'm really trying to keep my other machine just as my desktop machine. So this would be for around the house or at a cafe or whatever. And I hope I can get it running really, really well, because that will just encourage me to use it more and to get out a bit more. But for now, we've made a bit of progress on this. We're still kind of just laying the table for actually getting Arch installed, but at least I can say I've booted into it for the first time. So that's kind of exciting. And we will pick this up again, and I will